A photograph shows a street sign, and the street is named Innovation. Exhibit 5.1 Credit Christian Hallman /Flickr /Attribution to Generic CC by 2. Learning outcomes. After reading this chapter, you should be able to answer these questions. Why do people become entrepreneurs, and what are the different types of entrepreneurs? What characteristics do successful entrepreneurs share? How do small businesses contribute to the U.S. economy? What are the first steps to take if you're starting your own business? Why does managing a small business present special challenges for the owner? What are the advantages and disadvantages facing owners of small businesses? How does the Small Business Administration help small businesses? What trends are shaping entrepreneurship and small business ownership? Exploring business careers. Natalie Tesler Spa Space. Natalie Tesler has always had an entrepreneurial spirit. After she graduated from New York University's law school, she began working as a tax attorney for a large firm in Chicago. But Tesler soon realized that this left her feeling unfulfilled. She didn't want to practice law, and she didn't want to work for someone else. "I wanted to wake up and be excited for my day," Tesler said. Not until one night, though, when she was having dinner with a friend who recently had begun a writing career, did she realize it was time. "I was listening to her talk about how much she loved her job, her passion and excitement. I wanted that. I wanted something that grabbed me and propelled me through the day, and being a lawyer wasn't it." She began searching for what it was. She had a tremendous passion and talent for hospitality, entertaining others, and presentation. Seeking an outlet for that flair, she found the spa industry, and the idea for Spa Space was born. "People think that owning a spa, I'm able to live this glamorous lifestyle," she laughs. "Owning a spa is nothing like going to one. My nails always are broken from fixing equipment. My back is usually in pain from sitting hunched over a computer trying to figure out the budget or our next marketing promotion." Tesler is a true entrepreneur, embodying the spirit and drive necessary to see her vision become a reality. Tesler wanted to design a spa that focused on something new, creating a comfortable, personalized environment of indulgence while not neglecting the medical technology of proper skin care. "My father's a dermatologist, so we discussed the importance of making this more than a spa where you can get a frou-frou, smell-good treatment that might actually harm your skin. We both thought it was important to create an experience that is as beneficial for people's skin as it is for their emotional well-being." To address this need, Spa Space has a medical advisory board that helps with product selection, treatment design, and staff training. Armed with a vision and a plan, Tesler turned her sights toward making it a reality. Spa Space opened in 2001 and has received a great deal of national recognition for its service excellence, unique treatments and products, and its fresh approach to appealing to both men and women. But it hasn't always been smooth sailing for Spa Space. Tesler had to steer the business through several obstacles, including the 9/11 tragedy just 3 months after the spa's grand opening, and then the Great Recession. Tesler learned to adapt her strategy by refining her target market and the services Spa Space offered. Her resiliency enabled the company to not only survive difficult economic periods, but to thrive and grow 17 years later into what the press recognizes as Chicago's best spa. Tesler recently turned the reins over to Alana Alberco, another entrepreneur and founder of Innovative Spa Management, a company that has been named twice to Inc. magazine's list of fastest-growing companies. When Alberco met Natalie Tesler and learned about her vision, she was inspired to invest in Spa Space. Natalie's vision still resonates. "I'm inspired to champion her vision into the future." Sources: our team, https://spaspace. Access February 1, 2018. Jennifer Cation Armstrong. Spa Reviews. Spa Space in Chicago. Day Spa Magazine. http://www.dayspamagazine.com. Access February 1, 2018. About Us. https://ismspa.com. Access February 1, 2018. Typical of many who catch the entrepreneurial bug, Natalie Tesler had a vision and pursued it single-mindedly. She's just one of thousands of entrepreneurs from all age groups and backgrounds. Even kids are starting businesses in high-tech firms. College graduates are shunning the corporate world to head out on their own. Downsized employees, mid-career executives, and retirees who have worked for others all their lives are forming the companies they have always wanted to own. Companies started by entrepreneurs and small business owners make significant contributions to the U.S. and global economies. Hotbeds of innovation, these small businesses take leadership roles in technological change and the development of new goods and services. Just how important are small businesses to our economy? Table 5.1 provides insight into the role of small business in today's economy. You may be one of the millions of Americans who's considering joining the ranks of business owners. As you read this chapter, you'll learn why entrepreneurship continues to be one of the hottest areas of business activity. Then you'll get the information and tools you need to help you decide whether owning your own company is the right career path for you. Next, you'll discover what characteristics you'll need to become a successful entrepreneur. Then we'll look at the importance of small businesses in the economy, guidelines for starting and managing a small business, the many reasons small businesses continue to thrive in the United States, and the role of the Small Business Administration. Finally, the chapter explores the trends that shape entrepreneurship and small business ownership today. Why do people become entrepreneurs, and what are the different types of entrepreneurs? Brothers Fernando and Santiago Aguirre exhibited entrepreneurial tendencies at an early age. At 8 and 9 years old respectively, they sold strawberries and radishes from a vacant lot near their parents' home in Plata del Mar on the Atlantic coast of Argentina. At 11 and 12, they provided a surfboard repair service from their garage. As teenagers, Fer and Santi, as they call each other, opened Argentina's first surf shop, which led to their most ambitious entrepreneurial venture of all. The flat-footed brothers found that traipsing across hot sand in flip-flops was uncomfortable, so in 1984 they sank their $4,000 savings into manufacturing their own line of beach sandals. Now offering sandals and footwear for women, men, and children, as well as clothing for men, Reef sandals have become the world's hottest beach footwear, with a presence in nearly every surf shop in the United States. 1. The economic impact of small business. Most U.S. businesses are small. 80%, approximately 23.8 million, of the nearly 29.7 million businesses have no employees, businesses run by individuals or small groups of partners, such as married couples. 89%, approximately 5.2 million, of the nearly 5.8 million businesses with employees have fewer than 20 employees. 99.6%, approximately 5.7 million, of all businesses have 0.99 employees, 98% have 0.20 workers. Approximately 5.8 million businesses have fewer than 500 employees. Only about 19,000 businesses in the United States have more than 500 employees. Companies with fewer than 50 employees pay more than 20% of America's payroll. Companies with fewer than 500 employees pay more than 41% of America's payroll. 32.5 million people, 1 employee in 4, work for businesses with fewer than 50 employees. These businesses also pay tens of millions of owners, not included in employment statistics. Table 5.1 Source, Firm Size Data, 2014, https://www.sba.gov, accessed February 1, 2018. Catching the Entrepreneurial Spirit. Young entrepreneur living the dream. Jack Bono is the quintessential entrepreneur. In the 3 years he has been in business, he has expanded his product line, opened multiple locations, established strategic partnerships, and secured sponsorship from several national brands. His business has garnered publicity from the New York Times, the Denver Post, the Today Show, Good Morning America, and numerous other media. He has shared his business success on several stages, speaking at Techstars and the Aspen Ideas Festival, and recently delivered the closing keynote speech at a national STEM conference. He even landed a gig on Shark Tank. Jack Bono is smart, charismatic, an excellent spokesperson, and persistent in his mission. And he is only 11 years old, which also makes him very adorable. Jack's business was born from a need that most kids have, a desire for toys. He asked his dad, Steve Bono, for a Lego Star Wars Death Star. The problem was that it cost $400. Jack's dad said he could have it, but only if he paid for it himself. This led Jack to do what a lot of kids do to earn some extra cash. He opened a lemonade stand. But he quickly learned that this would never help him realize his dream. So with the advice and help of his father, he decided to open a lemonade stand at a local farmer's market. There were lots of people who wanted to buy great lemonade from an 8-year-old, says Jack. In no time, Jack had earned enough to buy his Lego Death Star. I had sales of around $2,000 and my total profit was $900, Jack said. Jack realized that he was onto something. Adults love to buy things from cute kids. What if he could make even more money by opening more locations? Jack developed an expansion plan to open 3 new Jack stands the following spring. Realizing that he would need more working capital, he secured a $5,000 loan from Young America's Bank, a bank in Denver that specializes in loans to children. Jack made $25,000 in 2015. The following year, Jack wanted to expand operations, so he secured a second loan for $12,000. He opened stands in several more locations, including shopping malls during the holiday season, selling apple cider and hot chocolate instead of lemonade. He also added additional shop space and recruited other young entrepreneurial kids to sell their products in his space, changing the name to Jack's Stands and Marketplace. One of his first partnerships was Sweet Bee Sisters, a lip balm and lotion company founded by Lily, Chloe, and Sophie Warren. He also worked with 18 other young entrepreneurs who sell a range of products from organic dog treats to scarves and headbands. Jack's strategy worked and the business brought in more than $100,000 last year. This year, he became the spokesperson for Santa Cruz Organic Lemonade, and he's now looking at expanding into other cities such as Detroit and New Orleans. Even though Jack is only 11 years old, he has already mastered financial literacy, customer service, marketing and sales, social skills, and other sound business practices, all the qualities of a successful entrepreneur. Critical thinking questions. What do you think enabled Jack Bono to start and grow a successful business at such a young age? What personal characteristics and values will Jack need to continue running his business while also attending school full-time? Sources about Jack stands in marketplaces, https://www.jackstands.com. Access February 1, 2018. Peter Gaska. This 11-year-old founder's advice is as profound as any you could receive, Inc. https://www.inc.com. July 27, 2017. Claire Martin. Some kids sell lemonade. He starts a chain, The New York Times, https://www.nytimes.com. February 26, 2016. Christy Glaslow, who monitors surf apparel for USBX Advisory Services LLC, notes, They Reef built a brand from nothing and now they're the dominant market share leader. The Agers, who currently live 2 blocks from each other in La Jolla, California, sold Reef to VF Corporation for more than $100 million in 2005. In selling Reef, we've finally found our freedom, Fernando says. We traded money for time, adds Santiago. Fernando remains active with surfing organizations, serving as president of the International Surfing Association, where he became known as Ambassador of the Wave, for his efforts in getting all 90 worldwide members of the International Olympic Committee to unanimously vote in favor of including surfing in the 2020 Olympic Games too. He has also been named Waterman of the Year by the Surf Industry Manufacturers Association 2 times in 24 years. Santi raises funds for his favorite not-for-profit, Surf Aid. Both brothers are enjoying serving an industry that has served them so well. The United States is blessed with a wealth of entrepreneurs, such as the Agers, who want to start a small business. According to research by the Small Business Administration, 2/3 of college students intend to be entrepreneurs at some point in their careers, aspiring to become the next Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon.com. But before you put out any money or expend energy and time, you'd be wise to check out Table 5.2 for some preliminary advice. The desire to be one's own boss cuts across all age, gender, and ethnic lines. Results of a recent U.S. Census Bureau survey of business owners show that minority groups and women are becoming business owners at a much higher rate than the national average. Table 5.3 illustrates these minority-owned business demographics. Why has entrepreneurship remained such a strong part of the foundation of the U.S. business system for so many years? Because today's global economy rewards innovative, flexible companies that can respond quickly to changes in the business environment. Such companies are started by entrepreneurs, people with vision, drive, and creativity, who are willing to take the risk of starting and managing a business to make a profit. Are you ready to be an entrepreneur? Here are some questions would-be entrepreneurs should ask themselves. What is new and novel about your idea? Are you solving a problem or unmet need? Are there similar products, services out there? If so, what makes yours better? Who is your target market? How many people would use your product or service? Have you talked with potential customers to get their feedback? Would they buy your product service? What about production costs? How much do you think the market will pay? How defensible is the concept? Is there good intellectual property? Is this innovation strategic to my business? Is the innovation easy to communicate? How might this product evolve over time? Would it be possible to expand it into a product line? Can it be updated, enhanced in future versions? Where would someone buy this product service? How will the product service be marketed? What are the costs to sell and market it? What are the challenges involved in developing this product service? Table 5.2 Sources. Jess Ekstrom. 5 questions to ask yourself before you start a business. Entrepreneur. https://www.entrepreneur.com. Access February 1, 2018. Resources. http://www.marketsmart.com. Access February 1, 2018. Monique Reese, Real-Time Marketing for Business Growth. How to use social media, measure marketing, and create a culture of execution. Upper Saddle River, NJ, FT Press / Pearson, 2010. Mike Collins, Before You Start Innovators Inventory. The Wall Street Journal, May 9, 2005, PR4. Statistics for minority-owned businesses. The number of Hispanic-owned businesses almost tripled between 1997, 1.2 million, and 2012, 3.3 million. The percentage of U.S. businesses with 1 to 50 employees owned by African Americans increased by 50% between 1996 and 2015. Almost a million firms with employees are minority-owned. 53% are Asian American-owned, 11% are African American-owned, and almost a third are Hispanic-owned. 19% of all companies with employees are owned by women. Table 5.3 Sources. Robert Bernstein, Hispanic-owned businesses on the upswing. International Trade Management Division, U.S. Census, https://www.census.gov, December 1, 2016. The Kauffman Index of Main Street Entrepreneurship, https://www.kauffman.org, November 2016. Entrepreneur or small business owner. The term entrepreneur is often used in a broad sense to include most small business owners. The two groups share some of the same characteristics, and we'll see that some of the reasons for becoming an entrepreneur or a small business owner are very similar. But there is a difference between entrepreneurship and small business management. Entrepreneurship involves taking a risk, either to create a new business or to greatly change the scope and direction of an existing one. Entrepreneurs typically are innovators who start companies to pursue their ideas for a new product or service. They are visionaries who spot trends. Although entrepreneurs may be small business owners, not all small business owners are entrepreneurs. Small business owners are managers or people with technical expertise who started a business or bought an existing business and made a conscious decision to stay small. For example, the proprietor of your local independent bookstore is a small business owner. Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon.com, also sells books. But Bezos is an entrepreneur. He developed a new model, web-based book retailing, that revolutionized the bookselling world and then moved on to change retailing in general. Entrepreneurs are less likely to accept the status quo, and they generally take a longer-term view than the small business owner. Types of entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs fall into several categories: classic entrepreneurs, multipreneurs, and intrapreneurs. Classic entrepreneurs. Classic entrepreneurs are risk-takers who start their own companies based on innovative ideas. Some classic entrepreneurs are micropreneurs who start small and plan to stay small. They often start businesses just for personal satisfaction and the lifestyle. Miho Inagi is a good example of a micropreneur. On a visit to New York with college friends in 1998, Inagi fell in love with the city's bagels. "I just didn't think anything like a bagel could taste so good," she said. Her passion for bagels led the young office assistant to quit her job and pursue her dream of one day opening her own bagel shop in Tokyo. Although her parents tried to talk her out of it, and bagels were virtually unknown in Japan, nothing deterred her. Other trips to New York followed, including an unpaid 6-month apprenticeship at SA Bagel, where Inagi took orders, cleared trays, and swept floors. On weekends, owner Florence Wilpon let her make dough. In August 2004, using $20,000 of her own savings and a $30,000 loan from her parents, Inagi finally opened Tiny Maruichi Bagel. The timing was fortuitous, as Japan was about to experience a bagel boom. After a slow start, a favorable review on a local bagel website brought customers flocking for what are considered the best bagels in Tokyo. Inagi earns only about $2,300 a month after expenses, the same amount she was making as a company employee. "Before I opened this store, I had no goals," she says, "but now I feel so satisfied." 4. In contrast, growth-oriented entrepreneurs want their business to grow into a major corporation. Most high-tech companies are formed by growth-oriented entrepreneurs. Jeff Bezos recognized that with internet technology, he could compete with large chains of traditional book retailers. Bezos's goal was to build his company into a high-growth enterprise, and he chose a name that reflected his strategy, Amazon.com. Once his company succeeded in the book sector, Bezos applied his online retailing model to other product lines, from toys and house and garden items to tools, apparel, music, and services. In partnership with other retailers, Bezos is well on his way to making Amazon's vision to be Earth's most customer-centric company, to build a place where people can come to find and discover anything they might want to buy online, a reality. 5. Multipreneurs. Then there are multipreneurs, entrepreneurs who start a series of companies. They thrive on the challenge of building a business and watching it grow. In fact, over half of the chief executives at Inc. 500 companies say they would start another company if they sold their current one. Brothers Jeff and Rich Sloan are a good example of multipreneurs, having turned numerous improbable ideas into successful companies. Over the past 20-plus years, they have renovated houses, owned a horse breeding and marketing business, invented a device to prevent car batteries from dying, and so on. Their latest venture, a multimedia company called Startup Nation, helps individuals realize their entrepreneurial dreams, and the brothers know what company they want to start next. Yours 6. A photograph shows Elon Musk. Exhibit 5.2. If there is one person responsible for the mainstream success of solar energy and electric vehicles in the past 10 years, it's Elon Musk, founder and CEO of Tesla. Since the 2000s, when he founded Tesla, launching innovation in solar technology and commercial space exploration with SpaceX, Musk has pioneered countless innovations and has challenged traditional automobile, trucking, and energy companies to challenge and rethink their businesses. What entrepreneurial type best describes Elon Musk? Credit: Steve Jurvetson /Flickr /attribution 2 generic CC by 2. Entrepreneurs. Some entrepreneurs don't own their own companies, but apply their creativity, vision, and risk-taking within a large corporation. Called entrepreneurs, these employees enjoy the freedom to nurture their ideas and develop new products, while their employers provide regular salaries and financial backing. Entrepreneurs have a high degree of autonomy to run their own mini-companies within the larger enterprise. They share many of the same personality traits as classic entrepreneurs, but they take less personal risk. According to Gifford Pinchot, who coined the term entrepreneur in his book of the same name, large companies provide seed funds that finance in-house entrepreneurial efforts. These include Intel, IBM, Texas Instruments, a pioneering entrepreneurial company, Salesforce.com, and Xerox. Why become an entrepreneur? As the examples in this chapter show, entrepreneurs are found in all industries and have different motives for starting companies. The most common reason cited by CEOs of the Inc. 500, the magazine's annual list of fastest-growing private companies, is the challenge of building a business, followed by the desire to control their own destiny. Other reasons include financial independence and the frustration of working for someone else. Two important motives mentioned in other surveys are a feeling of personal satisfaction with their work and creating the lifestyle that they want. Do entrepreneurs feel that going into business for themselves was worth it? The answer is a resounding yes. Most say they would do it again. Concept check. Describe several types of entrepreneurs. What differentiates an entrepreneur from a small business owner? What are some major factors that motivate entrepreneurs to start businesses? What characteristics do successful entrepreneurs share? You have what it takes to become an entrepreneur. Having a great concept is not enough. An entrepreneur must be able to develop and manage the company that implements his or her idea. Being an entrepreneur requires special drive, perseverance, passion, and a spirit of adventure in addition to managerial and technical ability. Entrepreneurs are the company. They tend to work longer hours, take fewer vacations, and cannot leave problems at the office at the end of the day. They also share other common characteristics as described in the next section. The entrepreneurial personality. Studies of the entrepreneurial personality find that entrepreneurs share certain key traits. Most entrepreneurs are ambitious, they are competitive and have a high need for achievement. Independent, they are individualists and self-starters who prefer to lead rather than follow. Self-confident, they understand the challenges of starting and operating a business and are decisive and confident in their ability to solve problems. Risk-takers, although they are not averse to risk, most successful entrepreneurs favor business opportunities that carry a moderate degree of risk where they can better control the outcome over highly risky ventures where luck plays a large role. Visionary, their ability to spot trends and act on them sets entrepreneurs apart from small business owners and managers. Creative, to compete with larger firms, entrepreneurs need to have creative product designs, bold marketing strategies, and innovative solutions to managerial problems. Energetic, starting and operating a business takes long hours. Even so, some entrepreneurs start their companies while still employed full-time elsewhere. Passionate, entrepreneurs love their work, as Miho Inagi demonstrated by opening a bagel shop in Tokyo despite the odds against it being a success. Committed, because they are so committed to their companies, entrepreneurs are willing to make personal sacrifices to achieve their goals. Customer satisfaction and quality. Ethical choices transform family business into international brand. Ever since Apollonia Poulain was a young girl growing up in Paris, she always knew what she wanted to do when she grew up, take over the family business. But she didn't anticipate how quickly this would happen. When her father Lionel Poulain and her mother died in a helicopter crash in 2002, France lost its most celebrated baker and Apollonia stepped into the role. She was just 18 years old at the time with plans to matriculate to Harvard in the fall, but the moment her parents had prepared her for had come. As her Harvard admissions essay said, the work of several generations is at stake. With organization and determination, Apollonia managed one of the best French bakeries in the world, based in Paris, from her apartment in Cambridge, Massachusetts. She would usually wake up an extra 2 hours before classes to make sure she would get all the phone calls done for work. After classes, I check on any business regarding the company and then do my homework, she says. Before I go to bed, I call my production manager in Paris to check the quality of the bread. Because the name Poilin has earned a place with a very small group of prestige bakers, the 18-year-old was determined to continue the tradition of customer satisfaction and quality her grandfather established in 1932. When her grandfather suffered a stroke in 1973, his 28-year-old son Lionel poured his heart into the business and made the family bread into the global brand it is today. Lionel opened 2 more bakeries in Paris and another in London. He developed and nurtured a worldwide network of retailers and celebrities where bread is shipped daily via FedEx to upscale restaurants and wealthy clients around the world. Experimenting with sourdough is what distinguished Poilin's products from bread produced by Paris's other bakers, and it has remained the company's signature product. It is baked with a pea carved into the crust, a throwback to the days when the use of communal ovens forced bakers to identify their loaves, and it also ensures that the loaf doesn't burst while it's baking. Today, Poilin also sells croissants, pastries, and a few specialty breads, but the company's signature item is still the 4-pound Mitch, a wheel of sourdough, a country bred, pain Poilin. Apollonia is definitely passionate about her job, says Juliette Sarrazin, manager of the successful Poilin Bakery in London. She really believes in the work of her father and the company, and she is looking at the future, which is very good. Apollonia's work ethic and passion fueled her drive even when she was a student. Each day presented a juggling act of new problems to solve in Paris while other Harvard students slept. As Apollonia told a student reporter from the Harvard Crimson writing a story about her, "The 1 or 2 hours you spend procrastinating I spend working. It's nothing demanding at all. It was always my dream to run the company." Her dedication paid off, and Apollonia retained control of important decisions, strategy, and business goals, describing herself as the commander of the ship, determining the company's overall direction. Today, Poilin is an $18 million business that employs 160 people. Poilin runs 3 restaurants called Cuisine de Bar in Paris and in London, serving casual meals such as soups, salads, and open-faced tartines. The company ships more than 200,000 loaves a year to clients in 20 countries, including the United States, Japan, and Saudi Arabia. More people understand what makes the quality of the bread, what my father spent years studying, so I am thrilled about that, says Apollonia. Critical thinking questions. What type of entrepreneur is Apollonia Poilin? What personal ethics drove Apollonia's decision to take over the family business? Sources: About Us, https://www.poilin.com, accessed February 1, 2018. Meg Borton, Apollonia Poilin builds on her family's legacy. The New York Times, https://www.nytimes.com, accessed February 1, 2018. Lauren Collins, breadwinner. A daughter upholds the traditions of France's premier baking dynasty. The New Yorker, https://www.newyorker.com, December 3, 2012. Gregory Katz, Her Daily Bread. American Way Magazine, July 15, 2005, p. 34. Claire Lanton, No Time to Loaf Around. Harvard Crimson, http://www.thecrimson.com, October 16, 2003. Most entrepreneurs combine many of the above characteristics. Sarah Levy, 23, loved her job as a restaurant pastry chef, but not the low pay, high stress, and long hours of a commercial kitchen. So she found a new one in her parents' home and launched Sarah's Pastries and Candies. Part-time staffers help her fill pastry and candy orders to the soothing sounds of music videos playing in the background. Cornell University graduate Connor McDonough started his own web design firm, Off the Path Mediacom, after becoming disillusioned with the rigid structure of his job. "There wasn't enough room for my own expression," he says. "Freelancing keeps me on my toes," says busy graphic artist Ana Sanchez. "It forces me to do my best work because I know my next job depends on my performance." 7. A photograph shows Ashton Kutcher sitting in front of a digital screen that reads TechCrunch, NY 2013. Exhibit 5.3. Celebrity Ashton Kutcher is more than just a pretty face. The actor mogul is an active investor in technology-based startups such as Airbnb, Skype, and Foursquare, with an empire estimated at $200 million. What personality traits are common to successful young entrepreneurs such as Kutcher? Credit: TechCrunch. Flickr/attribution 2 generic CC by 2. Managerial ability and technical knowledge. A person with all the characteristics of an entrepreneur might still lack the necessary business skills to run a successful company. Entrepreneurs need the technical knowledge to carry out their ideas and the managerial ability to organize a company, develop operating strategies, obtain financing, and supervise day-to-day activities. Jim Crane, who built Eagle Global Logistics from a startup into a $250 million company, addressed a group at a meeting saying, "I have never run a $250 million company before, so you guys are going to have to start running this business." 8. Good interpersonal and communication skills are important in dealing with employees, customers, and other business associates such as bankers, accountants, and attorneys. As we will discuss later in the chapter, entrepreneurs believe they can learn these much-needed skills. When Jim Steiner started his toner cartridge remanufacturing business, Quality Imaging Products, his initial investment was $400. He spent $200 on a consultant to teach him the business and $200 on materials to rebuild his first printer cartridges. He made sales calls from 8 a.m. to noon and made deliveries to customers from noon until 5:00 p.m. After a quick dinner, he moved to the garage where he filled copier cartridges until midnight, when he collapsed into bed, sometimes covered with carbon soot. And this was not something he did for a couple of months until he got the business off the ground. This was his life for 18 months. 9. But entrepreneurs usually soon learn that they can't do it all themselves. Often they choose to focus on what they do best and hire others to do the rest. Concept check. Describe the personality traits and skills characteristic of successful entrepreneurs. What does it mean when we say that an entrepreneur should work on the business, not in it? How do small businesses contribute to the U.S. economy? Although large corporations dominated the business scene for many decades, in recent years small businesses have once again come to the forefront. Downsizings that accompany economic downturns have caused many people to look towards smaller companies for employment, and they have plenty to choose from. Small businesses play an important role in the U.S. economy, representing about half of U.S. economic output, employing about half the private sector workforce, and giving individuals from all walks of life a chance to succeed. What is a small business? How many small businesses are there in the United States? Estimates range from 5 million to over 22 million, depending on the size limits government agencies and other groups use to define a small business, or the number of businesses with or without employees. The Small Business Administration, SBA, established size standards to define whether a business entity is small, and therefore eligible for government programs and preferences that are reserved for small businesses. Size standards are based on the types of economic activity or industry, generally matched to the North American Industry Classification System, NAICS. 10. Small businesses are defined in many ways. Statistics for small businesses vary based on criteria such as new startup businesses, the number of employees, total revenue, length of time in business, non-employees, businesses with employees, geographic location, and so on. Due to the complexity and need for consistent statistics and reporting for small businesses, several organizations are now working together to combine comprehensive data sources to get a clear and accurate picture of small businesses in the United States. Table 5.4 provides a more detailed look at small business owners. Snapshot of small business owners. Startup activity has risen sharply over the last 3 years, from an all-time low of -0.87% in 2013 to positive 0.48% in 2016. Between 1996 and 2011, the rate of business ownership dropped for both men and women. However, business ownership has increased every year since 2014. The Kaufman Index of Startup Activity, an early indicator of new entrepreneurship in the United States, rose again slightly in 2016 following sharp increases 2 years in a row. New entrepreneurs who started businesses to pursue opportunity rather than from necessity reached 86.3%, more than 12 percentage points higher than in 2009 at the height of the Great Recession. For the first time, Main Street entrepreneurship activity was higher in 2016 than before the onset of the Great Recession. This increase was driven by a jump in business survival rates, which reached a 3-decade high of 48.7%. Nearly half of new businesses are making it to their 5th year of operation. 47% of U.S. businesses have been in business for 11 or more years. In 2016, about 25% of all employing firms had revenues over $1 million, but 2% had revenues under $10,000. Table 5.4 Sources. The Kauffman Index, Main Street Entrepreneurship, National Trends, http://www.kauffman.org, November 2016. Kauffman Index of Startup Activity 2016 calculations based from CPS, BDS, and BED, http://www.kauffman.org. America's Entrepreneurs, September 2016, https://www.census.gov. Nearly 1 in 10 businesses with employees are new, according to inaugural annual survey of entrepreneurs, https://www.census.gov, September 1, 2016. One of the best sources to track U.S. entrepreneurial growth activity is the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation. The Kauffman Foundation is among the largest private foundations in the country, with an asset base of approximately $2 billion, and focuses on projects that encourage entrepreneurship and support education through grants and research activities. They distributed over $17 million in grants in 2013.11. The Kauffman Foundation supports new business creation in the United States through 2 research programs. The annual Kauffman Index of Entrepreneurship series measures and interprets indicators of U.S. entrepreneurial activity at the national, state, and metropolitan level. The foundation also contributes to the cost of the Annual Survey of Entrepreneurs, ASC, which is a public-private partnership between the foundation, the U.S. Census Bureau, and the Minority Business Development Agency. The ASC provides annual data on select economic and demographic characteristics of employer businesses and their owners by gender, ethnicity, race, and veteran status. 12. The Kauffman Index of Entrepreneurship series is an umbrella of annual reports that measures how people and businesses contribute to America's overall economy. What is unique about the Kauffman reports is that the indexes don't focus on only inputs, as most small business reporting has been done in the past. It reports primarily on entrepreneurial outputs, the actual results of entrepreneurial activity, such as new companies, business density, and growth rates. The reports also include comprehensive, interactive data visualizations that enable users to slice and dice a myriad of data nationally, at the state level, and for the 40 largest metropolitan areas. 13. The Kauffman Index series consists of 3 in-depth studies: Startup Activity, Main Street Entrepreneurship, and Growth Entrepreneurship. The Kauffman Index of Startup Activity is an early indicator of new entrepreneurship in the United States. It focuses on new business creation activity and people engaging in business startup activity, using 3 components: the rate of new entrepreneurs, the opportunity share of new entrepreneurs, and startup density. The Kauffman Index of Main Street Entrepreneurship measures established small business activity, focusing on U.S. businesses more than 5 years old with less than 50 employees from 1997 to 2016. Established in 2015, it takes into account 3 components of local small business activity: the rate of businesses owners in the economy, the 5-year survival rate of businesses, and the established small business density. The Kauffman Growth Entrepreneurship Index is a composite measure of entrepreneurial business growth in the United States that captures growth entrepreneurship in all industries and measures business growth from both revenue and job perspectives. Established in 2016, it includes 3 component measures of business growth: rate of startup growth, share of scale-ups, and high-growth company density. Data sources for the Kauffman Index calculations are based on Current Population Survey, CPS, with sample sizes of more than 900,000 observations, and the Business Dynamics Statistics, BDS, which covers approximately 5 million businesses. The Growth Entrepreneurship Index also includes Inc. 505,000 data. Small businesses in the United States can be found in almost every industry, including services, retail, construction, wholesale, manufacturing, finance and insurance, agriculture and mining, transportation and warehousing. Established small businesses are defined as companies that have been in business at least 5 years and employ at least 1, but less than 50 employees. Table 5.5 provides the number of employees by the size of established business. More than half of small businesses have between 1 and 4 employees. Number of employees by percentage of established small businesses. Established small businesses are defined as businesses over the age of 5 employing at least 1, but less than 50 employees. Number of employees percentage of businesses. 1-4 employees 53.07%. 5-9 employees 23%. 10-19 employees 14.36%. 20-49 employees 9.33%. Table 5.5 Source: Kauffman Foundation Calculations from Business Dynamics Statistics, Yearly Measures, November 2016. Concept check. What are 3 ways small businesses can be defined? What social and economic factors have prompted the rise in small business? What are the first steps to take if you're starting your own business? You have decided that you'd like to go into business for yourself. What is the best way to go about it? Start from scratch, buy an existing business, or buy a franchise. About 75% of business startups involve brand new organizations, with the remaining 25% representing purchase companies or franchises. Franchising may have been discussed elsewhere in your course, so we'll cover the other 2 options in this section. Getting started. The first step in starting your own business is a self-assessment to determine whether you have the personal traits you need to succeed, and, if so, what type of business would be best for you. Table 5.6 provides a checklist to consider before starting your business. Finding the idea. Entrepreneurs get ideas for their businesses from many sources. It is not surprising that about 80% of Inc. 500 executives got the idea for their company while working in the same or a related industry. Starting a firm in a field where you have experience improves your chances of success. Other sources of inspiration are personal experiences as a consumer, hobbies and personal interests, suggestions from customers, family and friends, industry conferences, and college courses or other education. Checklist for starting a business. Before you start your own small business, consider the following checklist. Identify your reasons. Self-analysis. Personal skills and experience. Finding a niche. Conduct market research. Plan your startup, write a business plan. Finances, how to fund your business. Table 5.6 source, 10 steps to start your business, https://www.sba.gov, accessed February 2, 2018. An excellent way to keep up with small business trends is by reading Entrepreneurship and small business magazines and visiting their websites. With articles on everything from idea generation to selling a business, they provide an invaluable resource and profile some of the young entrepreneurs and their successful business ventures. Table 5, 7, 14. Successful entrepreneurs. Name and age, company, and description. Philip Kimmy, 27. Kimmy's dog sitting and dog walking network, Rover.com, raised almost $100 million in venture capital and was valued at $300 million in 2017. Max Mankin, 27. Mankin co-founded Modern Electron and raised $10 million in venture capital to create advanced thermionic energy converters that will generate cheap, scalable, and reliable electricity. Modern Electron will turn every home into a power station. Alexandra Kristen White, 28. In her early 20s, White founded Glam Seamless, which sells tape-in hair extensions. In 2016, her self-funded company grossed $2.5 million. Steph Curry, 29. Jen Rubio, 29. Corey and Rubio founded Away, selling first-class luggage at a Coach price in 2015. They raised $31 million in funding and grossed $12 million in sales in 2016. Alan Gannett, 26. Gannett founded TrackMaven, a web marketing analytics company, in 2012. By 2016, his company was grossing $6.7 million a year. Jake Kasson, 25. Kramer LaPlante, 25. Kasson and Kramer launched their company, MVMT, through Indiegogo, raising $300,000 and in 2016 grossed $60 million, selling primarily watches and sunglasses. Brian Stream, 29. Stream's company, Airobo, provides drone services to the film industry, selling professional aerial filming and drone cinematography. Airobo grossed $1 million in 2016, its first full year of business. Natalia Bailey, 30. Louis Perna, 29. Achean Systems began in 2014, raised $10 million in venture funding and grossed $4.5 million in 2016, making tiny propulsion systems for satellites. Jessie Dover, 29. Dover is the co-founder of Dagny Dover, a company making storage-efficient handbags for professional women. She and her co-founders grossed $4.5 million in 2016 and debuted on Nordstrom.com in 2017. Table 5.7. These dynamic individuals, who are already so successful in their 20s and 30s, came up with unique ideas and concepts and found the right niche for their businesses. Interesting ideas are all around you. Many successful businesses get started because someone identifies a need and then finds a way to fill it. Do you have a problem that you need to solve, or a product that doesn't work as well as you'd like. Raising questions about the way things are done and seeing opportunity in adversity are great ways to generate ideas. Choosing a form of business organization. A key decision for a person starting a new business is whether it will be a sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, or limited liability company. As discussed earlier, each type of business organization has advantages and disadvantages. The choice depends on the type of business, number of employees, capital requirements, tax considerations, and level of risk involved. Developing the business plan. Once you have the basic concept for a product or service, you must develop a plan to create the business. This planning process, culminating in a sound business plan, is one of the most important steps in starting a business. It can help to attract appropriate loan financing, minimize the risks involved, and be a critical determinant in whether a firm succeeds or fails. Many people do not venture out on their own because they are overwhelmed with doubts and concerns. A comprehensive business plan lets you run various what-if analyses and evaluate your business without any financial outlay or risk. You can also develop strategies to overcome problems well before starting the business. Taking the time to develop a good business plan pays off. A venture that seems sound at the idea stage may not look so good on paper. A well-prepared, comprehensive, written business plan forces entrepreneurs to take an objective and critical look at their business venture and analyze their concept carefully. Make decisions about marketing, sales, operations, production, staffing, budgeting, and financing, and set goals that will help them manage and monitor its growth and performance. A photograph shows a group of people made up of younger and older people wearing shirts that read Essex Startups 2015. Exhibit 5.4. Each year, a variety of organizations hold business plan competitions to engage the growing number of college students starting their own businesses. The University of Essex and the iLearn Entrepreneurship curriculum developed by the University of Texas in Austin, which partnered with Trisakti University in Jakarta, Indonesia, and the U.S. Embassy to help run an entrepreneurship course and competition, are examples of such competitions. 7 students from iLearn Entrepreneurship were selected as finalists to pitch their business plans to a panel of Indonesian business leaders and embassy representatives. The winning business plan, which was an ecotourism concept, earned $1,000 in seed money. What research goes into a winning business plan? Credit: University of Essex /Flickr attribution 2 generic CC by 2. The business plan also serves as the initial operating plan for the business. Writing a good business plan takes time, but many business people neglect this critical planning tool in their eagerness to begin doing business, getting caught up in the day-to-day operations instead. The key features of a business plan are a general description of the company, the qualifications of the owner, a description of the products or services, an analysis of the market demand, customers, competition, sales and distribution channels, and a financial plan. The sections should work together to demonstrate why the business will be successful, while focusing on the uniqueness of the business and why it will attract customers. Table 5.8 describes the essential elements of a business plan. A common use of a business plan is to persuade lenders and investors to finance the venture. The detailed information in the plan helps them assess whether to invest. Even though a business plan may take months to write, it must capture potential investors' interest within minutes. For that reason, the basic business plan should be written with a particular reader in mind. Then you can fine-tune and tailor it to fit the investment goals of the investor you plan to approach. Key elements of a business plan. Executive summary provides an overview of the total business plan. Written after the other sections are completed, it highlights significant points and, ideally, creates enough excitement to motivate the reader to continue reading. Vision and mission statement concisely describe the intended strategy and business philosophy for making the vision happen. Company values can also be included in this section. Company overview explains the type of company, such as manufacturing, retail, or service, provides background information on the company if it already exists, and describes the proposed form of organization, sole proprietorship, partnership, or corporation. This section should include company name and location, company objectives, nature and primary product or service of the business, current status, startup, buyout or expansion, and history, if applicable, and legal form of organization. Product and/or service plan describes the product and/or service and points out any unique features, as well as explains why people will buy the product or service. This section should offer the following descriptions: product and/or service, features and benefits of the product or service that provide a competitive advantage, available legal protection, patents, copyrights, and trademarks. Marketing plan shows who the firm's customers will be and what type of competition it will face, outlines the marketing strategy and specifies the firm's competitive edge, and describes the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the business. This section should offer the following descriptions: analysis of target market and profile of target customer, methods of identifying, attracting, and retaining customers, a concise description of the value proposition, selling approach, type of sales force and distribution channels, types of marketing and sales promotions, advertising and projected marketing budget, product and or service pricing strategy, and credit and pricing policies. Management plan identifies the key players, active investors, management team, board members, and advisors, citing the experience and competence they possess. This section should offer the following descriptions: management team, outside investors and or directors and their qualifications, outside resource people and their qualifications, and plans for recruiting and training employees. Operating plan explains the type of manufacturing or operating system to be used and describes the facilities, labor, raw materials, and product processing requirements. This section should offer the following descriptions: operating or manufacturing methods, operating facilities, location, space, and equipment, quality control methods, procedures to control inventory and operations, sources of supply, and purchasing procedures. Financial plan specifies financial needs and contemplated sources of financing, as well as present projections of revenues, costs, and profits. This section should offer the following descriptions: historical financial statements for the last 3-5 years or as available, pro forma financial statements for 3-5 years including income statements, balance sheets, cash flow statements, and cash budgets, monthly for first year and quarterly for second year, financial assumptions, break-even analysis of profits and cash flows, and planned sources of financing. Appendix of supporting documents provides materials supplementary to the plan. This section should offer the following descriptions: management team biographies, the company's values, information about the company culture if it's unique and contributes to employee retention, and any other important data that support the information in the business plan, such as detailed competitive analysis, customer testimonials, and research summaries. Table 5.8 Sources: 7 elements of a business plan, https://QuickBooks, Intuit.com, accessed February 2, 2018, David Sickerly. Write a winning business plan with these 8 key elements. Entrepreneur, https://www.entrepreneur.com, accessed February 2, 2018. Patrick Hull, 10 Essential Business Plan Components. Forbes, https://www.forbes.com, accessed February 2, 2018. Justin G. Longenecker, J. William Petty, Leslie E. Palick, and Frank Hoy, Small Business Management, Launching and Growing Entrepreneurial Ventures, 18th edition, Mason O.H. Cengage, 2017. Monique Reese, Real-Time Marketing for Business Growth. How to Use Social Media, Measure Marketing, and Create a Culture of Execution, Upper Saddle River, NJ, FT Press/Pearson, 2010. But don't think you can set aside your business plan once you obtain financing and begin operating your company. Entrepreneurs who think their business plan is only for raising money make a big mistake. Business plans should be dynamic documents, reviewed and updated on a regular basis, monthly, quarterly, or annually, depending on how the business progresses and the particular industry changes. Owners should adjust their sales and profit projections up or down as they analyze their markets and operating results. Reviewing your plan on a constant basis will help you identify strengths and weaknesses in your marketing and management strategies, and help you evaluate possible opportunities for expansion in light of both your original mission and goals, current market trends, and business results. The Small Business Administration (SBA) offers sample business plans and online guidance for business plan preparation under the Business Guide tab at https://www.sba.gov. Financing the business. Once the business plan is complete, the next step is to obtain financing to set up your company. The funding required depends on the type of business and the entrepreneur's own investment. Businesses started by lifestyle entrepreneurs require less financing than growth-oriented businesses, and manufacturing and high-tech companies generally require a large initial investment. Who provides startup funding for small companies? Like Miho Inagi and her Tokyo Bagel Shop, 94% of business owners raise startup funds from personal accounts, family, and friends. Personal assets and money from family and friends are important for new firms, whereas funding from financial institutions may become more important as companies grow. 3/4 of Inc. 500 companies have been funded on $100,000 or less. 15. The two forms of business financing are debt, borrowed funds that must be repaid with interest over a stated time period, and equity, funds raised through the sale of stock, i.e. ownership in the business. Those who provide equity funds get a share of the business's profits. Because lenders usually limit debt financing to no more than 1/4 to 1/3 of the firm's total needs, equity financing often amounts to about 65 to 75% of total startup financing. A photograph shows Damon John sitting in a chair on stage, speaking into a microphone. Exhibit 5.5 Fubu started when a young entrepreneur from Hollies, Queens, began making tie-top skullcaps at home with some friends. With funding from a $100,000 mortgage and a later investment from the Samsung Corporation, CEO Damon John turned his home into a successful sportswear company. The FUBU brand tops the list for today's fashionistas who don everything from FUBU's classic Fat Albert line to swanky FUBU suits and tuxedos. How do startups obtain funding? Credit, U.S. Embassy Nairobi Flickr/attribution to generic CC by 2. One way to finance a startup company is bootstrapping, which is basically funding the operation with your own resources. If the resources needed are not available to an individual, there are other options. Two sources of equity financing for young companies are angel investors and venture capital firms. Angel investors are individual investors or groups of experienced investors who provide financing for startup businesses by investing their own money, often referred to as seed capital. This gives the investors more flexibility on what they can and will invest in, but because it is their own money, angels are careful. Angel investors often invest early in a company's development, and they want to see an idea they understand and can have confidence in. Table 5.9 offers some guidelines on how to attract angel financing. Making a heavenly deal. You need financing for your startup business. How do you get angels interested in investing in your business venture? Show them something they understand, ideally a business from an industry they've been associated with. Know your business details. Information important to potential investors includes annual sales, gross profit, profit margin, and expenses. Be able to describe your business, what it does, and who it sells to in less than a minute. Limit PowerPoint presentations to 10 slides. Angels can always leave their money in the bank, so an investment must interest them. It should be something they're passionate about, and timing is important. Knowing when to reach out to an angel can make a huge difference. They need to see management they trust, respect, and like. Present a competent management team with a strong, experienced leader who can explain the business and answer questions from potential investors with specifics. Angels prefer something they can bring added value to. Those who invest could be involved with your company for a long time or perhaps take a seat on your board of directors. They are more partial to deals that don't require huge sums of money or additional infusions of angel cash. Emphasize the likely exits for investors and know who the competition is, why your solution is better, and how you are going to gain market share with an infusion of cash. Table 5.9 Sources: Guy Kawasaki, The Art of Raising Angel Capital, https://guykawasaki.com, accessed February 2, 2018. Murray Newlands, How to Raise an Angel Funding Round, Forbes, https://www.forbes.com, March 16, 2017. Melinda Emerson, 5 Tips for Attracting Angel Investors, Small Business Trends, https://smallbiztrends.com, July 26, 2016. Nicole Fallon, 5 Tips for Attracting Angel Investors, Business News Daily, https://www.businessnewsdaily.com, January 2, 2014. Stacy Zhao, 9 Tips for Winning Over Angels, Inc., https://www.inc.com, June 15, 2005. Rhonda Abrams, What Does It Take to Impress an Angel Investor, Inc., https://www.inc.com, March 29, 2001. Venture capital is financing obtained from venture capitalists, investment firms that specialize in financing small, high-growth companies. Venture capitalists receive an ownership interest and a voice in management in return for their money. They typically invest at a later stage than angel investors. We'll discuss venture capital in greater detail when discussing financing the enterprise. Buying a small business. Another route to small business ownership is buying an existing business. Although this approach is less risky, many of the same steps for starting a business from scratch apply to buying an existing company. It still requires careful and thorough analysis. The potential buyer must answer several important questions. Why is the owner selling? Do they want to retire or move on to a new challenge, or are there problems with the business? Is the business operating at a profit? If not, can this be corrected? On what basis has the owner valued the company, and is it a fair price? What are the owner's plans after selling the company? Will they be available to provide assistance through the change of ownership of the business? And depending on the type of business it is, will customers be more loyal to the owner than to the product or service being offered? Customers could leave the firm if the current owner decides to open a similar business. To protect against this, many purchasers include a non-compete clause in the contract of sale, which generally means that the owner of the company being sold may not be allowed to compete in the same industry of the acquired business for a specific amount of time. You should prepare a business plan that thoroughly analyzes all aspects of the business. Get answers to all your questions and determine via the business plan whether the business is a sound one. Then you must negotiate the price and other terms of purchase and obtain appropriate financing. This can be a complicated process and may require the use of a consultant or business broker. Risky business. Running your own business may not be as easy as it sounds. Despite the many advantages of being your own boss, the risks are great as well. Over a period of 5 years, nearly 50% of small businesses fail according to the Kauffman Foundation 16. Businesses close down for many reasons and not all are failures. Some businesses that close are financially successful and close for non-financial reasons, but the causes of business failure can be interrelated. For example, low sales and high expenses are often directly related to poor management. Some common causes of business closure are economic factors, business downturns, and high interest rates. Financial causes: inadequate capital, low cash balances, and high expenses. Lack of experience, inadequate business knowledge, management experience, and technical expertise. Personal reasons: the owners may decide to sell the business or move on to other opportunities. Inadequate early planning is often at the core of later business problems. As described earlier, a thorough feasibility analysis from market assessment to financing is critical to business success. Yet even with the best plans, business conditions change and unexpected challenges arise. An entrepreneur may start a company based on a terrific new product only to find that a larger firm with more marketing, financing, and distribution clout introduces a similar item. The stress of managing a business can also take its toll. The business can consume your whole life. Owners may find themselves in over their heads and unable to cope with the pressures of business operations, from the long hours to being the main decision maker. Even successful businesses have to deal with ongoing challenges. Growing too quickly can cause as many problems as sluggish sales. Growth can strain a company's finances when additional capital is required to fund expanding operations, from hiring additional staff to purchasing more raw material or equipment. Successful business owners must respond quickly and develop plans to manage its growth. So how do you know when it is time to quit? Never give up may be a good motivational catchphrase, but it is not always good advice for a small business owner. Yet some small business owners keep going no matter what the cost. For example, Ian White's company was trying to market a new kind of city map. White maxed out 11 credit cards and ran up more than $100,000 in debt after starting his company. He ultimately declared personal bankruptcy and was forced to find a job so that he could pay his bills. Maria Martz didn't realize her small business would become a casualty until she saw her tax return showing her company's losses in black and white for the second year in a row. It convinced her that enough was enough, and she gave up her gift basket business to become a full-time homemaker. But once the decision is made, it may be tough to stick to. I got calls from people asking how come I wasn't in business anymore. It was tempting to say I'd make their basket, but I had to tell myself it is finished now. Concept check. How can potential business owners find new business ideas? Why is it important to develop a business plan? What should such a plan include? What financing options do small business owners have? What risks do they face? Why does managing a small business present special challenges for the owner? Managing a small business is quite a challenge. Whether you start a business from scratch or buy an existing one, you must be able to keep it going. The small business owner must be ready to solve problems as they arise and move quickly if market conditions change. Managing change. Learning how to pivot. Most small business owners either use or at least know of the iconic email service MailChimp, a company that is growing by more than $120 million every year and is on track to bring in $525 million over the coming year. But Ben Chestnut, the CEO and co-founder, says it took MailChimp several years to figure out what it did well. When Chestnut was laid off from his job at the Cox Media Group in Atlanta, he founded Rocket Science Group, a web design firm. Co-founder Dan Kurzius, who taught himself to code, joined Chestnut, and they began to focus their sales efforts on tech companies. But when the tech bubble burst, they pivoted to focus on selling to airline and travel companies. Then 9/11 hit, and they needed to change focus again, this time on the real estate market. However, both Chestnut and Kurzius discovered they didn't enjoy sales and they weren't very good at it, nor did they like the bureaucracy of working with large companies. The only companies we could relate to were small businesses, and they always asked for email marketing. This insight helped Chestnut to recall a product feature the Rocket Science Group had previously developed for an email greeting card project. So Chestnut and Kurzius evaluated the marketing software and began to test it with small businesses. Our day jobs felt like going to these big organizations and pitching to them, and it was miserable, Chestnut says. but we really loved our nighttime jobs, which were helping the small businesses use this email marketing app. Their passion, along with market feedback, led to their decision to completely focus on email marketing for small businesses. But it wasn't until almost 2009 that MailChimp found its sweet spot. The founders initially wanted to give away one product that collected subscribers and then charge for another, which was sending emails, but it would have been very difficult to divide the product into two pieces. That's when they landed on the freemium idea. "Let's just make the whole thing free," said Chestnut. The idea was that if they made it cheap and easy for small businesses to try MailChimp, their business would grow and they would be happy to pay for MailChimp services. MailChimp allows customers to send an email for free to 1,999 people at once, but charges for emails sent to over 2,000 people, and for premium features. MailChimp charges a monthly recurring fee starting at $10 for sending more than 12,000 emails a month. The idea quickly proved to be a huge success. MailChimp went from a few 100,000 users to 1 million users in a year. The next year, they added another million users. The MailChimp founders learned a lot of lessons during their 17 years in business. One of their most important lessons is knowing when to change. When you see an opportunity, don't be afraid to pivot and change course, especially if it means focusing on a market you're passionate about. Listening to market feedback and following their passion earned MailChimp's founders recognition as 2017 Business of the Year by Inc. magazine. Critical thinking questions. What led MailChimp's founders to change its focus on the customers they were selling to? What was MailChimp's big idea that changed the business, and why was it so successful? Sources: Maria Espan, want proof that patience pays off. Ask the founders of this 17-year-old $525 million email empire, Inc. https://www.inc.com winter 2017 January 2018 issue. MailChimp from Startup to Inc. Magazine's top company, CNBC https://www.cnbc.com December 12, 2017. Farhad Manjoo, MailChimp and the Unsilicon Valley way to make it as a startup. The New York Times https://www.nytimes.com October 5, 2016. A sound business plan is key to keeping the small business owner in touch with all areas of his or her business. Hiring, training, and managing employees is another important responsibility because the owner's role may change over time. As the company grows, others will make many of the day-to-day decisions while the owner focuses on managing employees and planning for the firm's long-term success. The owner must constantly evaluate company performance and policies in light of changing market and economic conditions and develop new policies as required. They must also nurture a continual flow of ideas to keep the business growing. The types of employees needed may change too as the firm grows. For instance, a larger firm may need more managerial talent and technical expertise. Using outside consultants. One way to ease the burden of managing a business is to hire outside consultants. Nearly all small businesses need a good certified public accountant, CPA, who can help with financial record keeping, decision-making, and tax planning. An accountant who works closely with the owner to help the business grow is a valuable asset. An attorney who knows about small business law can provide legal advice and draw up essential contracts and documents. Consultants in areas such as marketing, employee benefits, and insurance can be used on an as-needed basis. Outside directors with business experience are another way for small companies to get advice. Resources such as these free the small business owner to concentrate on medium and long-range planning and day-to-day operations. Some aspects of business can be outsourced or contracted out to specialists. Among the more common departments that use outsourcing are information technology, marketing, customer service, order fulfillment, payroll, and human resources. Hiring an outside company, in many cases another small business, can save money because the purchasing firm buys just the services it needs and makes no investment in expensive technology. Management should review outsourced functions as the business grows because at some point it may be more cost-effective to bring them in-house. Hiring and retaining employees. It is important to identify all the costs involved in hiring an employee to make sure your business can afford it. Recruiting, help wanted ads, extra space, and taxes will easily add about 10–15% to their salary, and employee benefits will add even more. Hiring an employee may also mean more work for you in terms of training and management. It's a catch-22. To grow, you need to hire more people, but making the shift from solo worker to boss can be stressful. Attracting good employees is more difficult for a small firm, which may not be able to match the higher salaries, better benefits, and advancement potential offered by larger firms. Small companies need to be creative to attract the right employees and convince applicants to join their firm. Once they hire an employee, small business owners must make employee satisfaction a top priority in order to retain good people. A company culture that nurtures a comfortable environment for workers, flexible hours, employee benefit programs, opportunities to help make decisions, and a share in profits and ownership are some ways to do this. Dwayne Ruff figured out how to build a $1.2 million business in a town with just 650 residents. It's all about treating employees right. The log birdhouse and bird feeder manufacturer Little Log Co., located in Sargent, Nebraska, boasts employee-friendly policies you read about but rarely see put into practice. Ra offers his employees a flexible schedule that gives them plenty of time for their personal lives. During a slow period last summer, Ra cut back on hours rather than lay anyone off. There just aren't that many jobs in that part of Nebraska that his employees could go to, so when he received a buyout offer that would have closed his facility but kept him in place with an enviable salary, he turned it down. Ra also encourages his employees to pursue side or summer jobs if they need to make extra money, assuring them that their little log jobs are safe. 18. Going global with exporting. More and more small businesses are discovering the benefits of looking beyond the United States for market opportunities. The global marketplace represents a huge opportunity for U.S. businesses, both large and small. Small businesses' decision to export is driven by many factors, one of which is the desire for increased sales and higher profits. U.S. goods are less expensive for overseas buyers when the value of the U.S. dollar declines against foreign currencies, and this creates opportunities for U.S. companies to sell globally. In addition, economic conditions such as a domestic recession, foreign competition within the United States, or new markets opening up in foreign countries may also encourage U.S. companies to export. Like any major business decision, exporting requires careful planning. Small businesses may hire international trade consultants or distributors to get started selling overseas. These specialists have the time, knowledge, and resources that most small businesses lack. Export trading companies (ETCs) buy goods at a discount from small businesses and resell them abroad. Export management companies (EMCs) act on a company's behalf. For fees of 5–15% of gross sales and multi-year contracts, they handle all aspects of exporting, including finding customers, billing, shipping, and helping the company comply with foreign regulations. Many online resources are also available to identify potential markets for your goods and services, as well as to decipher the complexities involved in preparing to sell in a foreign country. The Small Business Association's Office of International Trade has links to many valuable sites. The Department of Commerce offers services for small businesses that want to sell abroad. Contact its Trade Information Center 1-800-USA-TRADE or its Export Center http://www.export.gov. Concept check. How does the small business owner's role change over time? How does managing a small business contribute to its growth? What are the benefits to small firms of doing business internationally, and what steps can small businesses take to explore their options? What are the advantages and disadvantages facing owners of small businesses? An uncertain economy has not stopped people from starting new companies. The National Federation of Independent Businesses reports that 85% of Americans view small businesses as a positive influence on American life. This is not surprising when you consider the many reasons why small businesses continue to thrive in the United States. Independence and a better lifestyle. Large corporations no longer represent job security or offer the fast-track career opportunities they once did. Mid-career employees leave the corporate world, either voluntarily or as a result of downsizing, in search of the new opportunities that self-employment provides. Many new college and business school graduates shun the corporate world altogether to start their own companies or look for work in smaller firms. Personal satisfaction from work. Many small business owners cite this as one of the primary reasons for starting their companies. They love what they do. Best route to success. Business ownership provides greater advancement opportunities for women and minorities, as we will discuss later in this chapter. It also offers small business owners the potential for profit. Rapidly changing technology. Technology advances and decreased costs provide individuals and small companies with the power to compete in industries that were formerly closed to them. Major corporate restructuring and downsizing. These force many employees to look for other jobs or careers. They may also provide the opportunity to buy a business unit that a company no longer wants. Outsourcing. As a result of downsizing, corporations may contract with outside firms for services they used to provide in-house. Outsourcing creates opportunities for smaller companies that offer these specialized goods and services. Small businesses are resilient. They are able to respond fairly quickly to changing economic conditions by refocusing their operations. There are several cities and regions that are regarded as the best locations for startup businesses and entrepreneurs. Among them are Tulsa, Oklahoma; Tampa, Florida; Atlanta, Georgia; Raleigh, North Carolina; Oklahoma City, Oklahoma; Seattle, Washington; Minneapolis, Minnesota; and Austin, Texas. 19. Why stay small? Owners of small businesses recognize that being small offers special advantages. Greater flexibility and an uncomplicated company structure allow small businesses to react more quickly to changing market forces. Innovative product ideas can be developed and brought to market more quickly, using fewer financial resources and personnel than would be needed in a larger company. And operating more efficiently keeps costs down as well. Small companies can also serve specialized markets that may not be cost-effective for large companies. Another feature is the opportunity to provide a higher level of personal service. Such attention brings many customers back to small businesses such as gourmet restaurants, health clubs, spas, fashion boutiques, and travel agencies. Steve Newlise played in baseball's minor leagues before an injury to his rotator cuff cut short his career. Newlise decided to combine his love of the game with a clever idea that has elevated him to the big leagues. The fact that players had trouble keeping their hands dry while batting inspired his big idea: a sweat-busting rosin bag attached to a wristband so that a player can dry the bat handle between pitches. In less than 2 years, Newlise's Fort Lauderdale, Florida company Tap It Inc. sold thousands of just Tap It wristbands. The product, which retails for $12.95, is used by baseball players, basketball players, tennis players, golfers, and even rock climbers. His secret to success: find a small distribution network that allows small companies with just one product line to succeed. 20. On the other hand, being small is not always an asset. The founders may have limited managerial skills or encounter difficulties obtaining adequate financing, potential obstacles to growing a company. Complying with federal regulations is also more expensive for small firms. Those with fewer than 20 employees spend about twice as much per employee on compliance than do larger firms. In addition, starting and managing a small business requires a major commitment by the owner. Long hours, the need for owners to do much of the work themselves, and the stress of being personally responsible for the success of the business can take a toll. But managing your company's growing pains doesn't need to be a one-person job. 4 years after he started Drinkworks, now Whirly Drinkworks, a company that makes custom drinking cups, Richard Humphrey was logging 100-hour weeks. I was concerned that if I wasn't there every minute, the company would fall apart. Humphrey got sick, lost weight, and had his engagement fall apart. When forced by a family emergency to leave the company in the hands of his 5 employees, Humphrey was amazed at how well they managed in his absence. They stepped up to the plate and it worked out, he says. After that, the whole company balanced out. 21. Concept check. Why are small businesses becoming so popular? Discuss the major advantages and disadvantages of small businesses. How does the Small Business Administration help small businesses? Many small business owners turn to the Small Business Administration (SBA) for assistance. The SBA's mission is to speak on behalf of small business, and through its national network of local offices, it helps people start and manage small businesses, advises them in the areas of finance and management, and helps them win federal contracts. Its toll-free number 1-800-UASK-SBA 1-800-827-5722 provides general information, and its website at http://www.sba.gov offers details on all its programs. 22. Financial assistance programs. The SBA offers financial assistance to qualified small businesses that cannot obtain financing on reasonable terms through normal lending channels. This assistance takes the form of guarantees on loans made by private lenders. The SBA no longer provides direct loans. These loans can be used for most business purposes, including purchasing real estate, equipment, and materials. The SBA has been responsible for a significant amount of small business financing in the United States. In the fiscal year ending on September 30, 2017, the SBA backed more than $25 billion in loans to almost 68,000 small businesses, including about $9 billion to minority-owned firms and $7.5 billion in loans to businesses owned by women. It also provided more than $1.7 billion in home and business disaster loans. 23. Other SBA programs include the New Markets Venture Capital Program, which promotes economic development and job opportunities in low-income geographic areas, while other programs offer export financing and assistance to firms that suffer economic harm after natural or other disasters. More than 300 SBA-licensed small business investment companies, SBICs, provide about $6 billion each year in long-term financing for small businesses. The SBA's website suggests seeking angel investors and using SBA-guaranteed loans as a way to fund the startup. These privately owned and managed investment companies hope to earn a substantial return on their investments as the small businesses grow. Scoring with management assistance programs. The SBA also provides a wide range of management advice. Its business development library has publications on most business topics. Its Starting Out series offers brochures on how to start a wide variety of businesses, from ice cream stores to fish farms. Business development officers at the Office of Business Development and local small business development centers counsel many thousands of small business owners each year, offering advice, training, and educational programs. The SBA also offers free management consulting through 2 volunteer groups, the Service Corps of Retired Executives SCORE and the Active Corps of Executives ACE. Executives in these programs use their own business backgrounds to help small business owners. SCORE has expanded its outreach into new markets by offering email counseling through its website http://www.score.org. The SBA also offers free online resources and courses for small business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs in its Learning Center, located on the SBA website under the Learning Center tab. Assistance for women and minorities. The SBA is committed to helping women and minorities increase their business participation. It offers a minority small business program, microloans, and the publication of Spanish-language informational materials. It has increased its responsiveness to small businesses by giving regional offices more decision authority and creating high-tech tools for grants, loan transactions, and eligibility reviews. The SBA offers special programs and support services for socially and economically disadvantaged persons, including women, Native Americans, and Hispanic people, through its Minority Business Development Agency. It also makes a special effort to help veterans go into business for themselves. Concept check. What is the Small Business Administration, SBA? Describe the financial and management assistance programs offered by the SBA. What trends are shaping entrepreneurship and small business ownership? Entrepreneurship has changed since the heady days of the late 1990s, when starting a .com while still in college seemed a quick route to riches and stock options. Much entrepreneurial opportunity comes from major changes in demographics, society, and technology, and at present there is a confluence of all three. A major demographic group is moving into a significantly different stage in life, and minorities are increasing their business ownership in remarkable numbers. We have created a society in which we expect to have our problems taken care of, and the technological revolution stands ready with already developed solutions. Evolving social and demographic trends, combined with the challenge of operating in a fast-paced, technology-dominated business climate, are changing the face of entrepreneurship and small business ownership. Into the future, startups drive the economy. Did new business ventures drive the economic recovery from the 2001-2002 and 2007-2009 recessions? And are they continuing to make significant contributions to the U.S. economy? The economists who review Department of Labor employment surveys and SBA statistics think so. Small business drives the American economy, says Dr. Chad Moutre, former chief economist for the SBA's Office of Advocacy. Main Street provides the jobs and spurs our economic growth. American entrepreneurs are creative and productive. Numbers alone do not tell the whole story, however. Are these newly self-employed workers profiting from their ventures, or are they just biding their time during a period of unemployment? U.S. small businesses employed 57.9 million people in 2016, representing nearly 48% of the workforce. The number of net new jobs added to the economy was 1.4 million 24. The highest rate of growth is coming from women-owned firms, which continues to rise at rates higher than the national average, and with even stronger growth rates since the recession. There were an estimated 11.6 million women-owned businesses employing nearly 9 million people in 2016, generating more than $1.7 trillion in revenue. 25. Between 2007 and 2017, women-owned firms increased by 114%, compared to a 44% increase among all businesses. This means that growth rates for women-owned businesses are 2.5 times faster than the national average. Employment growth was also stronger than national rates. Women-owned businesses increased 27% over the past 20 years, while overall business employment has increased by 13% since 2007.26. These trends show that more workers are striking out on their own and earning money doing it. It has become very clear that encouraging small business activity leads to continued strong overall economic growth. Changing demographics create entrepreneurial diversity. The mantra, 60 is the new 40, describes today's baby boomers who indulge in much less knitting and golf in their retirement years. The AARP predicts that silver-haired entrepreneurs will continue to rise in the coming years. According to a recent study by the Kauffman Foundation, baby boomers are twice as likely as millennials to start a new business. In fact, close to 25% of all new entrepreneurs fall between the ages of 55 and 64.27. This has created a ripple effect in the way we work. Boomers have accelerated the growing acceptance of working from home, adding to the millions of U.S. workers already showing up to work in their slippers. In addition, the ongoing corporate brain drain could mean that small businesses will be able to tap into the expertise of seasoned free agents at less than corporate prices, and that seniors themselves will become independent consultants to businesses of all sizes. 28. The growing numbers of baby boomer entrepreneurs has prompted some forward-thinking companies to recognize business opportunities in technology. At one time, there was a concern that the aging of the population would create a drag on the economy. Conventional wisdom says that the early parenthood years are the big spending years. As we age, we spend less, and because boomers are such a big demographic group, this is going to create a long-term economic decline. Not true, it now appears. The boomer generation has built sizable wealth, and they are not afraid to spend it to make their lives more comfortable. Minorities are also adding to the entrepreneurial mix. As we saw in Table 5.3, minority groups and women are increasing business ownership at a much faster rate than the national average, reflecting their confidence in the U.S. economy. These overwhelming increases in minority business ownership paralleled the demand for U.S. Small Business Administration loan products. Loans to minority business owners in fiscal year 2017 set a record more than $9.5 billion, or 31% of SBA's total loan portfolio. 29. The latest Kauffman Foundation Index of Startup Activity found that immigrants and Hispanic Latino people have swelled the growing numbers of self-employed Americans in recent years, increasing the diversity of the country's entrepreneurial class. Overall, minority-owned businesses increased 38%. The SBA notes that the number of Hispanic-owned businesses has increased more than 46% between 2007 and 2012.3. An image contains two smaller, side-by-side images, and at the bottom reads Rodden and Fields Redefine. Exhibit 5.6. The popularity of home businesses such as Rodden plus Fields, eBay, and other e-commerce sites has given rise to a new kind of entrepreneur, the mompreneur. Typically ex-corporate professionals, these web-driven women launch home businesses specializing in the sale of antiques, jewelry, thrift store fashions, and other items. Aided by digital photography, wireless technology, and friendly postal workers, these savvy moms are one of the fastest-growing segments of entrepreneurs building successful businesses on the web. Why are many professional women leaving the workplace to start entrepreneurial ventures online? Credit: Amanda Nobles, Flickr/Attribution 2 Generic CC by 2. How far will you go to get rich? With enough intelligence and determination, people can get rich almost anywhere in the United States. Whether you own chains of dry cleaners in Queens, car dealerships in Chicago, or oil wells in West Texas, fortunes have been made in every state in the Union. There are some places, however, where the chances of creating wealth are much greater than others. That is the reason why people who hope to strike it rich move to places such as Manhattan or Palo Alto. It's not because the cost of living is low or the quality of life as a struggling entrepreneur is fun. Whether starting a software or soft drink company, entrepreneurs tend to follow the money. But not all companies follow the herd. Guild Education, founded in 2015 by Rachel Carlson and Brittany Stitch at Stanford University, left San Francisco due to the high cost of living that could slow down the company's growth. We have a lot of women who are executives and department heads here, starting with myself and my co-founder, CEO Rachel Carlson said. So when we left, we deliberately chose a place where you can have a family. 31 Guild Education's mission is to help large employers offer college education and tuition reimbursement as a benefit to the 64 million working-age adults who lack a college degree. Since moving to Denver, Guild Education has raised another $21 million in venture capital, bringing the total funding to $31.5 million with a company valuation of $125 million. 32. The company headquarters in Denver is next door to a Montessori school and employs 58 employees. We were joking that we're the polar opposite of Apple, said Carlson. Remember when the new mothership came out? Every single parent noticed that it had a huge gym but not a daycare. According to PwC's quarterly venture capital study, Moneytree report, the top regions in the United States for venture-backed deals in the third quarter of 2017 were San Francisco $4.1 billion, New York Metro $4.2 billion, Silicon Valley Bay Area $2.2 billion, and New England $1.8 billion. $33. In 2017, equity financing in U.S. startups rose for the third straight quarter, reaching $19 billion, according to the PwC/CB Insights Moneytree Report Q3 2017. Financing was boosted by a large number of mega-rounds, says Tom Cicolella, partner, U.S. Ventures leader at PwC. 26 mega-rounds of $100 million in companies such as WeWork, 23andMe, Fanatics, and NAUTO contributed to the strong activity levels in the first 3 quarters of 2017. The top 5 U.S. industry sectors with the most deals and funding were internet, healthcare, mobile and telecommunications, software, non-internet mobile, and consumer products. Concept check. What significant trends are occurring in the small business arena? How is entrepreneurial diversity impacting small business and the economy? How do ethics impact decision-making with small business owners?